Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 10-team PPR mock draft from the 7th overall spot using FantasyPros Draft Wizard. We're going to be drafting up against the ESPN, NFL, and Sleeper ADP. The roster positions for today's mock are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and 5 bench spots. But before we get on into today's mock draft, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. And if you'd like to check out my PPR rankings and cheat sheet, they are available in the video description on my Patreon for $7.50. So without further ado, let's get into this 10-team PPR mock draft from the 7th overall spot. Now, in every video where we talk about a league that is smaller than 12 teams, the main discussion point is about the elite quarterback and the elite tight end, because in a 10 or an 8-team league, basically everyone's team is going to be stacked. Now, maybe there is one person that is so dumb they can't even rub enough brain cells together to draft a solid team in a 10-team league. So one person, one buffoon, one dunce has a bad team. But 9 out of the 10 teams are going to be solid, right? And sometimes all 10 teams are solid because even the person that doesn't know too much about football, your grandma that's in your league, your friend Bill from high school, your coworker Jim, right? They don't know ball. Maybe even their team ends up good because it's easier to draft a good team in a 10-team league compared to a 12-team league if you don't even know ball. So the way to get the kind of lead on those people is by drafting the elite quarterback, the elite tight end, because everyone's going to have these great running backs. They're going to have these great wide receivers, but not everyone has a top 3 quarterback, a top 3 tight end. So that's how you get the, head up above them, right? Now, should you go into your draft thinking, oh, I need to get an elite quarterback, I need to get an elite tight end? I would say no. Just keep it in the back of your head, because then you might reach. Because more than likely, Travis Kelce, you don't need to take him at the 204 if you want him. You don't need to take Josh Allen at the 204, right? But if you're like, oh, I need to get the elite quarterback, you might reach, miss on some value. So keep it in the back of your head, but don't go into your draft thinking you need to do it. Just keep it in mind. So this draft begins McCaffrey, Lamb, Hill, Brees, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. As of right now, CeeDee Lamb still in a contract dispute. Christian McCaffrey still hurt. Not really too worried about either scenario, but this will be very telling, in a week and a half from now. If the situations are still going on, you're going to kind of worry a little bit more. Very normal start to draft. So at the 107, a majority of the time, your decision is Bijan Robinson versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, some leagues, Bijan might be gone, Amon-Ra St. Brown might be gone, and then you're probably just going to take Justin Jefferson, or maybe Breece Hall falls there, right? But in this scenario, very normal first 6 picks, 2 running backs, and 4 wide receivers. So to me, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that I think could finish as the wide receiver 1. He is going to see a lion's share of targets in this offense. He's on the Lions. He's going to see a shit ton of targets. He played insane last year, playing a bunch of games with a torn oblique. This is a guy that could easily score 10-plus touchdowns, 1,500 or more receiving yards. One of the highest targeted receivers in the NFL. He's a beast. He's on the Lions. He's going to put up big numbers. Bijan had a shit year last year, mainly because Arthur Smith is a buffoon, but now he sheds off Arthur Smith. He's now going to go terrorize Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, and new coaching staff, Kirk Cousins, better quarterback. So it really is just your opinion. Do you want to take the running back here, and then you might get left with some confusing wide receivers, because the Drake London, the Chris Olave, the Devontae Adams, to me, are a little bit more confusing than the Amon-Ra St. Brown. The running backs in the 2nd round are typically a little bit better, especially early on. You might be able to get a falling Saquon Barkley, or you can get Kyron Williams, Pacheco. So it's really just about your risk tolerance. Now, I love Marvin Harrison, and I'd be happy with him being my wide receiver 1. I really do believe he could fall back to us at the 204, so we are going to take Bijan. But if you wanted to take Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's fine as well. I'm basically 50-50 on it. It's probably a little bit safer, though, to take Amon-Ra St. Brown, because we might be getting into some risky territory here at wide receiver in the 2nd round if Amon-Ra goes, obviously, he's going to go in that range if Marvin Harrison goes. Obviously, maybe we could get a falling Nacua because of the knee injury, but we shall see. That's why we do the mock drafts. You guys want to be doing these mock drafts, testing multiple different strategies out. So we will go with Bijan Robinson here. So after Bijan, we see Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Saquon Barkley, and Jonathan Taylor. So now that leaves us with banged up Puka or banged up Jahmyr Gibbs as our top options. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be healthy, allegedly, by week 1. We should be good. They're going to just put him on ice, like that Cold as Balls show with Kevin Hart on YouTube. But still worrisome, right? Because we know how hamstrings could be. It could fucking start fucking rearing its ugly head, and then you end up being like, oh, I drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and now he's dust. But now he is falling into a range where I'm kind of fine taking the risk. Again, taking huge risks in the second round, kind of no bueno, but I don't think it's the biggest risk based upon all of the reporting. Puka dealing with the week-to-week knee injury. Devontae Adams is dealing with an undisclosed injury, which is way worse. When you read undisclosed, that's time to panic. As you guys are watching this, I record the video the night before. We might have a better idea on the Adams injury. So we typically end up going running back, wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. Just kind of how drafts fall. It feels easy. But this time, we're going to go double running back. Do you have to go double running back every time? No. Had I have drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would definitely be taking probably a wide receiver, because I don't know if you want to, which would have been Puka, draft 2 guys on the Lions. I'd be fine having 2 guys on the Lions because I think the Lions are going to be a ferocious offense. They're going to be kicking the ever-living shit out of defenses. But it's kind of scary for your first 2 picks to be on the same team. So here, we are going to go ahead and go double running back, take a little bit more risk with Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, if your fantasy draft is on Labor Day weekend and everything's looking great for Gibbs, take him. But if there's appearing to be some setbacks, then maybe you want to back up on that take a little bit. After Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Isaiah Pacheco, Drizzy Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Travis Etienne, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, and Chris Olave, man. Pat Mahomes' ADP keeps rising. Quarterback 1 off the board in this draft. Seems like he might end up being quarterback 1 in ADP. I get it, though. He's got more weapons. The rushing upside is a little bit sus to me. Now, this year, if you're going robust running back, you're absolutely ludicrous. I can get, draft 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds. Go right ahead. But 3, I mean, this isn't 1986 anymore. We don't need to be doing that. H-Chan would be a great pick here had we have not drafted Gibbs and maybe went with Puka Nacua. But, you know, we can't go back in time. We can't go back to the future. So we're going to sit here and go wide receiver. Now, my highest ranked wide receivers in order off the top of my head would be DJ Moore, Nico Collins, Evans, Waddle, Kupp, then Pittman. Now, a lot of the time, you don't want to just be drafting strictly, and you shouldn't be unless you're in a draft that is at, you're like at someone's house or you're at the bar and you're doing the draft on the actual board, then ADP goes out the fucking window. But in your at-home draft, you're on ESPN, you're on Yahoo, you're on NFL, you're on Sleeper, wherever you play, CBS, RT Sports. You want to be mindful of the ADP, right? It's very likely that if we take Waddle, we can get DJ Moore. Right, so while I have DJ Moore as the highest ranked guy, you don't have to take DJ Moore here because he could easily fall back to you. Now, Josh Allen is not my quarterback 1. My quarterback 1 is Jalen Hurts, who could fall back to me in the 4th. So I'm not going to take Hurts here, even though more than likely he'll probably end up gone. We are going to go wide receiver because, again, I am not 100% mind-bended to the fact that we need an elite quarterback or an elite tight end. Jalen Waddle's hurt. He's dealing with a minor injury. Nothing really to worry about, in my opinion. So let's get Jalen Waddle here. While he's the number 2 receiver on his team, I am enamored with the Dolphins offense. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I do really think that Jalen Waddle is going to have a huge bounce back year. And I think that Jalen Waddle is going to surprise a lot of people, especially with the fact that you're able to get him in like the 3rd round in some drafts. Now, maybe the smart move based on ADP would be just to take Jalen Hurts and then hope Waddle comes back. I don't even know if Waddle's going to come back, but I think that might be the smart move. We're going to go back on what I just said. Again, that's why I talk through things I'm thinking, I'm speaking out loud. If I was just thinking in my head, I'd make the decision in 5 seconds. Or to speak it out loud, and we're to go Jalen Hurts here. Get the tush-push merchant onto the squad. I know Saquon being there might take away from some rushing touchdowns. Losing Kelsey will take away from some rushing opportunity. But he's still going to rush a bunch. Still going to get a bunch of rushing touchdowns. He's got Hurts. He's got Waddle. He's got Hill. He doesn't have Hurts, obviously. He does technically. He's got himself. But he's got Brown. He's got Goddard. He's got Saquon to dump the ball off to. He's got Devontae Smith. He's going to be fine. I think he could easily be the quarterback one after Hurts. Pittman, Evans, Allen, Achane, White, Mixon. Perfect move. Now we can get whoever our highest ranked wide receiver is. Now, normally we'd be taking DJ Moore here because he is my highest ranked wide receiver, but we don't want to be doing the same thing in every single draft. You want to do things differently. Not only because in mock drafts, you want to try out different things. In your real draft, if you're doing 5 leagues, don't just take DJ Moore every single time, because what if DJ Moore ends up getting hurt or he doesn't end up living up to my expectations? Then you have shot your team tending to the Wabbits, Lenny style, 5 times in a row when you could have just taken 2 shots or 3 shots. You know, even then, I'm fine going heavy in, right? I'm fine risk tolerance wise. If you really like the guy, draft him 3 times, but don't draft them all 5 times. Because again, you could really hurt yourself in that scenario. It's different though. If you're like, oh, my favorite 15th round pick is this guy, draft them 5 times. The risk isn't as much when you're talking about guys going a little bit lower. So we're going to go ahead and let's go Cooper Kupp, because with the Puka Nacua injury, Cooper Kupp, I could see, I know he had a bad year last year, but he was coming off the injury. I still believe that he is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. If that Puka injury is a little bit more serious, or even if it's not as serious, like, there's still a scenario where Cooper Kupp's the #1 target on this team. I don't think he will be, but there is a scenario for that. I think Stafford's pretty slept on still. So Cooper Kupp, 4th round, feels like a guy that could finish easily inside the top 8. Do I love that Cooper Kupp's my wide receiver 1? The answer to that would be no, but because we drafted Jalen Hurts where we did, it's okay. Again, normally we were like some Anthony Richardson aficionados in the 5th round. But we took a quarterback early. Again, experiment. Switch things up. After Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Stephon Diggs, Alvin Kamara, Debo, Waddle. Lamar opens the 5th. Kenneth Walker, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore. Almost fell back to us, but he didn't. Now, the question is, do we want to go safe or do we want to go risky? Amari Cooper's dealing with some soreness. I get sore sometimes as well. He'll be okay. He's a little bit older, right? Malik Neighbors feels like the upside shot. He is the upside shot. Malik Neighbors is the kind of guy that could finish as a top 12 receiver, or he might finish as the wide receiver 37 because Daniel Jones sucks more cock than Mia Malkova. Now, I think there's a chance that that does happen, but there's also a chance that Daniel Jones is just okay enough for Malik Neighbors to be good. Malik Neighbors is always open. Malik Neighbors went crazy in the preseason game, even despite the fact that Daniel Jones was seeing ghosts Sam Darnold style. So I really like Malik Neighbors. 5th round, it feels good. Underdog Fantasy, where he's going to like the 3rd round, feels a little bit more risky, right? But in the 5th round, I'm fine paying that price. I get, is he the safest pick? No, but as you get to the middle of the draft, you want to be taking more high upside shots. So we went ahead and drafted Malik Neighbors. After Neighbors, Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Zay Flowers, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, the 6th round. Chef's kiss, Manu Fuik. That dude is cooking, Gordon Ramsay style, or like the dude that is Ratatouille on his head in the Ratatouille movie. So after we got our guy Malik Neighbors here, now we have a question mark. Do we want to go Pitts? I really like Pitts. I think Pitts has the upside to be top 3 tight end. But then we have 2 Atlanta Falcons guys, kind of suspect. So do we punt the tight end position, maybe go with our guy Jake Ferguson later? Do we take one here? I don't think we should in the 6th round. Basically locked and loaded that we need to go wide receiver here. And with Neighbors being a little bit risky, we probably want a double tap receiver in the next 2 rounds. Cooper, with the injury, feels solid here. With a little bit of soreness, I'm not too worried. Now, I think that his ADP is a little bit higher than this, so we might be getting a potential steal. His ADP, though, is pick 53 with that combined aggregate ADP, so it's not that crazy for him to fall to this range. If Cooper wasn't here, I'm starting to get a little bit numb on Christian Kirk. I like Higgins. I like Pickens. I got to move my rankings, but I adjust the rankings every couple of days. If you have the Patreon, you'll see I normally, instead of just updating them and then, don't really know if I've updated them, I just put a new post out on the Patreon. Hey, I updated the rankings. I also answer questions on there. Typically, I get back to you within like 24 hours. Check that out if you don't got it. Again, I'm not just shilling my Patreon. I'm just being honest with you guys. If you want the rankings, unless someone's posting rankings for free, $7.50 is probably the cheapest you're going to be able to get them. So, I'm fine with Amari Cooper here, dealing with the soreness. Again, if we figure out tomorrow, the next couple of days, he's sore because he tore his ACL, then yeah, start to worry. But if he's fine, knock on wood, I like Amari Cooper here. Deshaun Watson gets a lot of hate, rightfully so. Doesn't seem like the best guy. But while he was kind of so-so last year, looking a little bit better. Again, do I think Deshaun Watson's ever going to be like his old self who was getting massages in Houston? No. I think the fact that he can't get any more massages is really hurting him. But I still think that he's a little bit better than people give him credit for. And again, Amari Cooper's so good, he doesn't need the best quarterback on earth. After Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Joe Shiesty, Ramondre Stevenson, the Short King, Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones, T. Higgins, James Conner, Tank Dell, Dak Prescott. I don't know, do I have, what's it called, dyslexia? I read the names backwards. Dak, then Tank Dell, David Montgomery, then Jordan, love me tender, love me sweet. So let's go wide receiver again. You could go running back here if you really wanted, like, you know, the extra safety to wrap the condom around the team on Gibbs. You get Zamir White or Najee with Jaylen Warren hurt. I get it, but I'm not going to do that. Let's look at the ADP of Ferguson. His ADP is pick 82, so we can definitely wait until at least the next round to take him, potentially waiting until round number 9. This draft, they were kind of a little bit smart. They tried to get their quarterbacks a little bit early, but a mistake that was made here was by this team right here. They made a grave mistake because every team has a quarterback. So why take Jordan Love here when you could have waited till at least the next round? Now, I get some people are going to be in leagues. I'm in leagues, right? With people, they could literally sit down and watch my videos, get the skeleton key for how to draft. You could become literally a genius by just watching these videos. That's how it works, right? You're guaranteed to win your league. You totally won't lose. Foolproof plan, right, guys? I'm going to win everyone, every league, right? That's how it works, right? Injuries won't happen. You won't get fisted by getting unlucky, by having to play up against the highest scoring team in the playoffs when you're the second highest scoring team. None of that will happen if you just hit the subscribe button. 10 years of good luck. So Jordan Love, I like Jordan Love, but that's a stupid pick. Why is that a stupid pick? Not because Jordan Love, but because you have to look at the teams going on around you. I get maybe another team jumps on a quarterback too, but they shouldn't, at least until like the 9th round. So just wait. Make sure you're looking at the draft board. If your league has a draft board, look at it. If it doesn't, you can typically look at the teams around you on the side of the screen. Without that, is that more annoying? Yes. You got to do it. It's a great strategy. So now we're going to go ahead and get George Pickens here. Feels like we draft George Pickens all the time in these videos. If Ayuk gets traded to the Steelers, I'm going to look like a straight fucking buffoon, especially with how much I've drafted him on underdog. I get, is Russell Wilson great? No. Is Justin Fields great? No. But there's no competition. Like, Van Jefferson's the second best receiver on that team. I get Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator, but it feels like George Pickens feels very comfy. He's the #1 player on the team. He is one of the better receivers in the league, in my opinion. He's like a top 12 guy, not yet, but like, could argue in like at the end of the season, he could be. You could talk yourself into that. Now Deontay Johnson's gone. He just feels like a very comfy, cozy click there. Could went with a variety of guys there as well. After George Pickens, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, Raheem Mostert, and Zamir White. So again, we're going to go back and look at the ADP of Ferguson. 82. So we're kind of rolling the dice on getting him, right? We're not guaranteeing ourselves him. The two teams on the other side of us, right, before we get to pick again, they don't have a tight end. So while you can definitely fill out your bench more, I'm fine doing that. You don't need to fill out your roster completely before you start tagging the bench. We've already done that with Pickens. Let's get Jake Ferguson. Now, Nick, you used to be an Evan Ingram guy. What kind of spoiled you? Now, when you look at Evan Ingram's stats from last year, he really got a boost from the injury of Christian Kirk. Now, because they have Brian Thomas Jr. and stuff, I'm starting to sour a little bit on Ingram. He's fine, though. He's a safe bet. He's going to get you the points every single week, but the upside, his 20-plus point games might be suppressed, held back by the other guys on the team. He's also notoriously bad at scoring touchdowns. His most amount of touchdowns was 6 back in 2017 when I was still in fucking high school. All right, 6 touchdowns as a Giant. In Jacksonville, he scored 4 touchdowns back-to-back years. I like Lawrence. I like Ingram. Think he's great. He shed his dropsies, his issues. He could still easily be a top 5 tight end without the targets. But again, he's benefited heavily for his finish from playing all 17 games. Is he a bad tight end? No. Am I still fine drafting him? Yes, I am fine drafting him. But I'm starting to like Jake Ferguson more, less target competition. Maybe CeeDee Lamb doesn't sign, which he's obviously going to, right? And then maybe Jake Ferguson just goes crazy. Jake Ferguson, a lot of people talk about how his upside, like, oh my God, he never really had a huge game during the season. Go look at that game against the Packers in the playoffs. And now I get, look, Nick, it wasn't technically his first year because he got a couple of snaps in 2022. 2023 was his full, real first year as the lead tight end. And I think he's going to run hot in 2024. Jake Ferguson also has a hot girlfriend, gives you a nice bonus, right? You know that guy is getting it in nightly, having a great time. Shout out to whoever that lady is that is his wife. My wife, his girlfriend. After Jake Ferguson, and that has nothing to do with anything. I know people will be like, Nick, you don't need to be talking about the players' girlfriends. You want to know who else has a hot wife? Ryan Tannehill. That's my quarterback. Fins up, baby. After Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard, 49ers defense, Browns, Jalen Ward, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Rashee Rice, Chris Godwin, Javonte Williams, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Zach Moss. So our running back 2 our running back 3 is going to be suspect, right? Very suspect. But what we're going to do here is take more upside shots, right? Because I know Gibbs might potentially miss week 1, but we don't want no fucking layups, right? We're not in the layup line here. We're going for the boom shakalaka, like some fucking NBA jam, slam dunk while you're on fire, 360 through the legs, put your cock on the shoulder of the defender. Kind of want to draft Jonathan Brooks. I really do. What's Jonathan Brooks' ADP? Jonathan Brooks is going to miss the first couple of games this season, and he plays. This is a guy out of Texas. He can play ball. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball, and I think the Panthers are going to be better this year than the last year, so I'm taking him. Does it make the most sense because we have Gibbs? I guess not, but I think Gibbs is going to be fine. I'm not too worried yet. Now, if we're fast forward a week and a half in advance, and Jonathan Brooks is, or not Jonathan Brooks, and Gibbs is like fucked, and you're like, oh my God, he's going to miss like 3 weeks, then yeah, you wouldn't have done that. You also wouldn't have picked him there if you knew that. So after Jonathan Brooks, who spells his name very incorrectly, the Ravens, Bears, Chubb, Singletary, Gus Edwards, Tajay Spears. Never take a defense or kicker before the last 2 rounds. Now, if you want to get a little bit spicy, I've done it before. I take them, in the 3rd round, right? I get my elite kicker, so I don't have to worry about fucking searching the waiver wire like a stunad. But what I will tell you is that it's still not super advisable to do. So taking a defense early is kind of crazy. You just want to stream the defenses. I'm going to make a defenses video for week 1. Just defenses to draft for the week 1, the week 2. And then there's going to be a defense to stream video. So if you just, for some reason, you forgot to do that, I'll still help you guys stream the defenses. And that's one of my best videos every single week. Everyone seems to like it. And while I normally go on like these tirades during the other videos with like 30 plus minutes long, that video, nice, tightly wrapped around 10 minutes. For the guys, the fellas, and the females, the women that watch the videos. I know that a lot of girls hate when you call them females because a lot of the people that'll be like, oh, females are like fucking douchebags, but I guess it doesn't matter to me. Sorry. But again, I don't think I'm the kind of person that when I say females, it means it in some crazy way. Again, who gives a fuck though? We're 23 minutes into the video. Shout out Michael Jordan. So we're back up on the clock here. Deontay Johnson is still available. Great value. But we don't want 2 guys on the Panthers at all. He's dealing with a groin. He hurt his groin fucking your fantasy team last year. Let's go Jaden Riley-Reed, the #1 receiver on the Green Bay Packers. Jaden Reed is the kind of guy with so much upside. Why does he have a lot of upside? Because the Packers are a great team, and he could be the wide receiver 1. He looked really good last year. I know Christian Watson's there. If healthy, Watson could be the #1 receiver. Jaden Reed's falling, though. If he wasn't available here because maybe he fell too far. What's his ADP? Pick 81, so he fell. If he wasn't available here and you wanted a wide receiver, you'd be fine with guys like JSN, Lad McConkey. I don't know too much about if I like Jordan Addison, but Rome Odunze. Like, Rome Odunze would be great on this team because we already have 4 receivers that I like a lot. And Odunze could be the guy that's like a late season hammer time, huge games with the Bears late in the season. He looked so good in preseason. So we're going to go Jaden Reed here again. If he wasn't available, you could have went elsewhere. Also, am kind of flirting with the idea of taking Jerome Ford because of the fact that we definitely aren't going to have Jonathan Brooks for week 1. We might not have Gibbs, but we're not going to be pussies here. We're just going to assume that everything goes good for Gibbs. Let's take Jaden Reed. Add more upside to this wide receiver room. It's full PPR. wide receivers are king here. So let's hope that we get our guy Jerome Ford coming back, and of course he doesn't. After Jaden Riley Reed, Roma Dunze, Fat Zeke, Deontay Johnson, Chase Brown, Hollywood Brown, JSN, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, the Chief, DeAndre Hopkins, Blake Corum, Jerome Ford, F-150, and Trey Freddie Benson. Back up on the clock here. We're going to need a running back. Could low-key go for the sneaky beaky handcuff here, but I don't like handcuffing my own guys. Pause. I'm just not about that life. Charbonnet banged up. Charbonnet is the kind of guy that could end up being the running back one if something happens to Walker. It seems like the coaching staff likes Walker more than I do, so maybe I need to move Walker slightly up my rankings. Dowdle I really like, but like Rico Dowdle could come back to the next round, I would think. But maybe not, because these drafts are running back heavy. ADP pick 149, but I know he's probably going to be gone, and I think he's worth an 11th round pick. We take him a lot in these mock drafts, but that's just because I like him a lot. He's the kind of guy that could end up being the lead back on an offense that should be really good with the Cowboys. So I'm going to take Rico Dowdle, even though it's a little bit of a reach. After Rico Dowdle, Christian Watson, Xavier Worthy, the best driver in the NFL, Jordan Addison, I guess second to Rashee Rice, Zach Charbonnet, Chuba Hubbard, and J.K. Dobbins. We've made that joke too much, though. Maybe we got to, reverse on that one. Reverse on the driving joke. You're killing me, Nick. So fucking funny. It's 1:30 in the morning. This is the second video I've recorded today. The second video you guys will see. Technically the third video I've recorded today, but that first video was recorded earlier today. Went out yesterday. The video I recorded before this will be the first video of today, coming out around 10 a.m. And this video around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get the lad, the McConkey, dealing with a lower body injury. Is that great? No, not great. And fucking Harbaugh doesn't give you anything. He doesn't give you anything. He never tells you what's wrong. You have no idea what's wrong. Why? Because he's fucking crazy and he doesn't tell you anything that's wrong. He just doesn't care. Now, if he wasn't available, I probably would go running back. Jaleel McLaughlin was seeing more snaps. Week 2, again, is preseason the gospel? No, but kind of a little bit worrisome for my Javonte Williams bags, but I'm still a big fan of Javonte Williams. So we're going to go lad here. And, even if the Chargers run the ball a lot, which they're going to do, Lad McConkey has a lot of upside because if you're the number one receiver, even on a team that runs the ball a lot, that's great. Again, he's a huge steal at that range. So if you weren't able to get him, he might fall, though, just because he's injured. I would have been fine with Brian Thomas Jr., Jameson Williams, Palmer, his teammate, Shaheed, Mario Douglas, not Jahan Dotson, Mike Williams. You guys get it, though. If you watch the sleeper video, you know who I'm talking about. Check out the sleeper video. It's free. Everything's free, except for the rankings on Patreon. Link in the video description. After Lad McConkey is Brock Bowers. And I wasn't laughing because I made it cost money. I was laughing because it was just a seamless tie-in. After Lad McConkey, Brock Bowers, Keon Coleman, Tyler Algier, Brock Purdy, Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson, Jets defense, Dustin Hopkins, Cowboys defense, Cortland Sutton, Dallas Goedert, and Justin Tucker, the fucker. We're going to go with our kicker first and get Harrison Butker, everyone's favorite kicker, right? No one dislikes Harrison Butker. All right, and then we're going to go with the defense. Now, again, you want to stream defenses every single week, or maybe you can find a defense that has a good couple of weeks. You want to stream a defense up against a not-so-hot offense in week number 1. Those defenses include teams like the Bengals and the Seahawks. Captain Spock put me onto them in the comment section of yesterday's video, and they actually both have good matchups in week 1 and in week 2. So the Seahawks are playing up against Bo Nix, first ever NFL start. I think Bo Nix is actually pretty decent, so I don't necessarily I think Bo Nix is going to end up being solid in the NFL, but it's his first ever game, so streaming up against that is solid. After that matchup, they go ahead and play Patriots. The Patriots, another rookie quarterback, maybe Jacoby Brissett. Either way, that's a solid matchup. The Bengals, they go up against either rookie quarterback or Jacoby Brissett in week 1 up against the Patriots. And then in week numero dos, they go up against the Chiefs. So you actually don't want them in week number 2. Spock, what the fuck were you talking about? I'm only kidding. I should have reviewed it before I said it. But they've got a great week 1 matchup. Don't play them up against the Kansas City Chiefs, though. So we are going to go ahead here and go with the Seahawks due to those first 2 matchups. I know the Seahawks are going to probably bump our grade down on here. You'll get an 85 because you drafted a low-rated defense. But that doesn't matter. All that matters, week 1, week 2, great for us. So our quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Our team is Bijan, Gibbs, Kupp, Neighbors, Ferguson, Cooper, Seahawks, Bucker, Pickens, Brooks, Reed, Dowdle, McConkey. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. I love this team, and I hope you guys do as well. Check out the link in the video description for the Patreon if you want the rankings. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Check out one of the videos on your screen if you haven't seen it already. I love you guys all so much. I'll see you guys a little bit later with another video. Actually, that's a lie. You should have seen the other video from earlier. Make sure you guys watch that. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Love you guys. Have a great one. As always, goodbye.